everybody. Welcome back to the Occupation Story Hub. So today we have our first side hustle interview, and we have Billy who sells sports cards. And you want to tell us a little bit about your side hustle?
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me. First, I go by like the username CardShark777, and that's on the platform whatnot. So basically, my sports card side hustle. I started off having a love for card collecting when I was a kid. Me, my brother, my dad, my uncles, we'd go to card shows um, in the Bay Area. Like the Cow Palace, like the Santa Clara Convention Center. We hit up all the convention centers, and one of the most memorable moments. I mean, it was all memorable because I was spending time with my family and just, as a kid, it's like a kid in a candy shop. You know what I mean? Just running wild at like a card show. Dad, could I have $5? And then like coming back about 5 minutes later, Dad, could I have another $5? And
Yeah.
he's like, for what? I just gave you $5. Are we good? So back in my day, like the big players when I was growing up was Jose Canseco, Mark McGuire, Barry Bonds, Ken Griffey Jr., Kevin Mitchell. You know, of the newer players that were coming out and like kind of coming up and starting to become big when I was a kid. But you also
Hmm.
still got your players like Willie Mays, Mickey Mantle, Hank Aaron, all those players that I already solidified their names in, baseball destiny and the Baseball Hall of Fame. Um, Tony Gwynn, one of the greatest hitters of all time. There's tons more, like Ted Williams, Joe DiMaggio. So with that being said, I grew up playing baseball. And it was really cool because growing up, I played on the Little League Yankees, the A's. Just I started playing ball at a really young age. Loved it. Fell in love with the sport. Fell in love with the game. Card collecting kind of goes hand in hand with that, because you're like, oh man, I want to be like Jose Canseco and I want to like knock the ball out of the park. So you wear your uniforms like they do. You wear your hats like they do. You imitate their swings when you play at your game. You say what they
Hmm.
say. You do what they do because you're a kid. So think about this, when some of your favorite players that you see on screen, you're at a card show, for example, and you get a card, and you're like, oh shoot, look, Dad, this is a Jose Canseco, out of Jose Canseco. Like that's your like prized possession, as a kid. So
Yeah.
you just kind of like put it to the side, and that's how that's how collecting starts. That's how your card collection starts, and your love for the hobby starts. That's how mine started. And I was fortunate that I got to share that with, my dad, my brother, my uncles. And I'll tell you what, one good thing that I appreciate about the hobby, about my dad kind of getting me into the hobby and my uncles, is it kept me out of trouble. I think if I didn't have that hobby, I'd have a lot more free time on my hands to be,
Yeah.
up to,
Idle hands.
for sure to, maybe get distracted or like, um, to occupy my time with something else that's like for example, I see a lot of people that have a lot too much time on their hands, and they get up to no good real quick. Instead of being inside and like, doing something like with a hobby or my other hobbies are hunting and fishing, but you know, card collecting inside, trading cards and stuff. I see some of my family members and a lot of my friends, they didn't really have too many hobbies. Um and they were out in the streets all the time, you know what I mean? So like a lot of my friends were out in the
Yeah.
streets all the time, and so it's really good for a kid because it occupies their time and it's something that a father and a son or a family can share together. You know what I mean? They can enjoy it together.
That's cool. That's cool. So you said you mentioned you sell cards. I think you said on Whatnot, right? So like real quick, um, what is a good day on Whatnot look like for you, money wise?
Um, I would say I think one of my biggest days on Whatnot was like 3,500.
Mm,
You know,
that's pretty good. Is
yeah,
that just for like a couple hours on like a Friday, Saturday night type thing?
that's one day of sales, and that was I would say probably about 6 hours of streaming,
Okay.
6 hours of streaming,
And what's like a kind of a low day?
couple $100. You know, but let me tell you something about Whatnot though, and about when you're selling cards. The key two words is side hustle. Okay, you always want to make sure that you never overextend yourself. Um,
Sure.
You always wanna make sure also that you have your primary job, your primary source of income coming in. That takes care of the bills and everything. Because I will tell you something, I in order to be successful, with the side hustle of sports cards, when you start selling them, if you auction them off on especially on Whatnot, a lot of people want you to start the cards off at $1 on auction. You have to be willing to lose money on like, you have to not be afraid of losing money. So it's kind of a risk, but at the same time, like, I'll give you an example. There was 2 cards that I had, LeBron James and it was 2 LeBron James cards. They were worth about, I don't know, $20 a piece, right? And this was the one the LeBron James market was, like, blowing up like crazy. So, and I told my buyers, "Hey, you guys, these LeBron James cards are like $20 a pop, $20, $30 a pop, they're pretty nice." So I threw them up for auction, and long story short, the auction went all the way. Those 2 cards that, people got in a bidding war over them, and they sold for $360.
Wow.
And they were worth about 20 to 30 a piece, right? So, and then after the fact, people were
But
like,
it's worth when you say worth, I mean, um, that worth values always changes. It's just what people are willing to pay for
it's
it,
like a
right?
daily stock market. It's what people are willing to pay for them. Exactly. Also, along those lines, there are a few different websites you can go and kind of check the prices on cards and see, like, if you're going to buy that card not in an auction setting, but in a buy it now setting, what kind of a price range are you looking, should you stay around? So there are like,
Yeah, yeah.
there are prices like that and websites like that that you can go to get a gauge, an idea, to get a rough estimate on what those cards are worth.
That's cool.
A couple of those websites are eBay, and then like another one that I use is 130 point. 130 point gauges pulls the sales from eBay and a few other auction houses. Also, like what I do, which is really cool, which I think is a real time value of a card, is when you see something sell on the Whatnot platform. Whatnot's an app, it's an online marketplace. They sell everything. So, I'm giving Whatnot a little plug right here. It's a great website. It's a great app. I really like it. I really enjoy selling on it. But what I do is when I see a card selling that I have, I take a screenshot of what it sold for because that is the current market in real time for that card for that day.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Are you able to show us like maybe a sample of your collection that you have?
Yeah, for sure. Let me turn this camera around real quick. I thought you'd never ask. Let me see
People
here.
don't want to see my ugly face. They want to see your cards.
Let me see here. See if I can get. I'm not sure if I have the ability to turn this camera around.
It's not working.
Let me see. Hold on.
Wonder if it locked you in. What's this? You joined the session.
Yeah, I don't think I have the ability to do it. Um, I could turn my phone around so that way you can see it that way.
Yeah, let's just see if that works. I can clip this section out.
Can you see that pretty good?
Yeah, I can see that.
All right, here we got a Max Crosby. This is a Max Crosby. This is a autograph. He's one of the, right now he's one of the most prolific defensive players. He happens to play for my team, the Las Vegas Raiders. And this is an autograph, and it's graded. This is the grading company is SGC. And when you start getting into sports card collecting, you get a really nice card. It's real clean. You send it out for grading. You could mature the value by three to five times, of the value of it being raw and ungraded. And here you see a Justin Herbert. This is a rookie auto. Can you get a clear picture of that?
Yeah, yeah, I
Okay.
can see it.
This is the grading company PSA, which is the number one standard in the hobby. PSA is widely recognized as the standard. Um, and this is a Justin Herbert rookie auto from 2020. It's a Gem Mint 10. Picked this up from my buddy Brandon. I think he's SD bangers on Whatnot, but yeah, this is a really nice card. A great young quarterback. Um, and then you got some stuff like this. This is one of my favorite players, Willie Mays. This is a
Really
top from
amazed.
back in the 1960s. That I picked up from a friend of mine on my softball team. He's like, "Hey man, can you check out my card collection to see if there's any value in here?" I said, "Yeah, for sure."
Wow.
Most of his stuff was, the junk era, like the '80s and the stuff that was mass produced. But then there's some cards from the '60s in there, and I told him, "Hey man, these are this is a pretty good card right here. You got some good money here, And so there's stuff like that, and then you got this is a Josh Allen. This is like they call this ultra modern, which is like 2024 uh select. This is a dragon scale of Josh Allen. He's a local player. I believe he went to Reedley and he's from like Fireball or somewhere out here.
I think so. I think from Fireball, right?
Yeah. He's a really good ball player, and Actually, you know what I got? I can show you is what I can show you is I got some packages that I could open, pop them open and show you.
Oh,
So
that'd be cool.
so check this out. In the sports card hobby, mail days are like it gives you the same feeling as like, hey, Christmas, like Christmas came early. Every time you get some sports card packages in the mail, it gives you that feeling like, hey, it's like Christmas, Christmas came early. It gives you something to look forward to. Let's say for example you have a long day at work or whatever, and you get off work and then the boss is on your back or whatever, and then you're like, cool, clock out or whatever. You put in your time, and then you come home and you check the mail. It kind of gives you like a little, I don't know if you want to call it like a, it kind of like kicks up those endorphins, right? And it just kind of gets those like happy chemicals. It triggers those happy chemicals in your brain, just to kind of
Yeah.
snap you out of
You,
that.
you might have forgot what cards you buy. And like, oh shoot,
Ex-
I'm gonna go open up, see what I
Exactly.
got.
Let's see
Oh,
what.
I
So
forgot I got this.
let's see what we got. Let's pop these open real quick. I got a couple little packages, nothing too crazy, just a couple small packages. Pop these open and we'll see what. So these are like little bubble mailers. If you're gonna sell, I would recommend getting yourself a little stash of these little black bubble mailers. You can get them on Amazon or whatever. And then one thing, if you're gonna sell, one thing that I recommend that'll give you like good credibility right off the bat, starting off, make sure you package your cards well. Um, so these are like there's styrofoam or cardboard. If you do this, you're gonna have buyers come back. If you don't, what I mean by doing this is packaging your cards. Take time to package your cards. I cut out like a small little square piece of cardboard that's about this size. I don't know, like a 6x4, 4 inches by 6 inches, 4x5. I put one on the front, put one on the back to protect your cards, and you sandwich them just like this. You sandwich your cards. So right here,
That's nice.
this is a nice. I'm not sure if you guys can see that. This is a gold rookie autograph of Tyquan Thornton. So Tyquan Thornton was on the Patriots. Then the Chiefs picked him up, and he's with Mahomes now. So anybody with Mahomes, Mahomes has been making him shine, basically making Tyquan Thornton shine. He's a good ball player.
That's a nice looking card.
Yeah, this is a nice rookie auto, and this one, uh, I picked it up because once you start selling cards, you start knowing your clientele, you start knowing your buyers. This one's already sold. This one's already spoken for
Mm,
by a Chiefs fan. So uh, it's nice once you establish business and you establish like you become friends with people, and then you get your regular buyers and stuff. I become good friends with my regular buyers, and they're like, "Hey, man, once you get that Taekwondo Thornton auto in, they're like, hey, put that in my stack. That's I'll take it. I'll pick it
that's
up from
cool.
you."
That's cool.
So that's already spoken
Yeah.
for right there. Um, and then let me pop open this other one. And then one thing, if you're going to get into sports, into selling sports cards, one thing that I recommend is throw in some bonus cards for people. You know what I mean? Every now and then. And I'll tell you why. Some people are like, yeah, but I'm just going to send them what they paid for. Well, you want to invest in your future, So what I'm saying is, by throwing somebody an extra bonus card or two, guess what? They're gonna be like, hey, I didn't pay for this, but he gave it to me anyways. That's pretty cool, and that's gonna
Yeah.
motivate those people, those buyers, to come back and buy more from you. So by simply giving like two free bonus cards that are worth probably like $5, you could have a return buyer come back and spend 100. So you're investing in yourself.
That's smart. That's smart.
Yeah, for sure. And pay it forward. If somebody does it for you, somebody gives you free cards, you know what I mean? Like, you know, do the same thing for somebody else. And that's what I would say that's what the hobby's all about, right? Is enjoying and networking and sharing, like cool little things like that with people, especially kids. If you got,
Mm,
if you're selling to kids, hook them up, take care of them. And here's some cards right here. So here's a Joe Milton. This is a Joe Milton that I bought. He's not a starter, but he's the backup to Dak Prescott on the Dallas Cowboys. And I believe that this guy he has all the he checks all the boxes. This guy's an incredible athlete. So I bought this,
nice.
which brings me to my next point. Go with your gut. If you see somebody and if you see something that nobody else sees, if you see some talent, if you see and you just get a gut feeling that guy's going to be good, go with it. Invest in a couple cards. I think I have like maybe 10 or 15 of his rookie cards. Invest in them. And when they're not starting, you can get them for cheap. I think I got this card for like $5-6. So let's say, 10 cards, $6, $60, you're investing in it, put it to the side. who knows? Something happens. Dak Prescott gets hurt. This guy starts. He takes the Cowboys to the playoffs. He makes a name for himself. Boom! All of a sudden, these cards like bump up to like 20 to 30 bucks. Multiply that by 10. You're looking at 2 to 300. Spend 60, so you make yourself a couple $100.
That's
Uh,
smart. That's
yeah,
smart.
and like for example, see, this is exactly my point. Here's another Joe Milton, and I seen some intangibles that this kid has, his athleticism, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna take a chance.
That's a cool looking card.
Yeah, that kid's good. I can go over these parallels real quick with you. This is the brand Prism. This is the brand Panini. This is the card brand of Prism, and this is called a Green Pulsar. That's a rookie. And this is an orange cracked dice. This is also a Panini Prism, and this is a nice one right here. His brother is older. His other older brother is Christian McCaffrey. Um, so he comes from a long bloodline of athletes, right? His mom and his dad. I think his mom was like a track star. His dad was Ed McCaffrey, played for the Broncos. So that they got athleticism in their family. So
Yeah.
I started picking up these cards from this kid. Speaking of his brother, here's a card of his brother right here. It's Christian McCaffrey.
Oh,
It's Luke
that's
McCaffrey.
a cool one. Mhm.
Once again, I kind of seen that this kid he comes from athletic background, right? Athletic family, and I mean, I think the kid he can become like a really good player, and eventually like have a breakout season. Breakout means like when there's not really a lot of tension on that person, on that player, and all of a sudden they have a huge game, and everybody's like after them. Now they're in high demand.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You want to in the sports card market. If I can kind of like give you like an inside little tip, you want to be in before everybody else gets in. You want to be on the ground level. So that's why I pick up the Luke McCaffreys and the Joe Miltons, right? You kind of want to pick up what are called like sleepers
Mhm.
before they explode, before they become like real popular. That's kind of how you can make your money in the sports cards, a little side hustle. Also by grading your cards. So for example, let's say I grade these all my Joe Miltons, and I send them, and a lot of them get tens. I send them to PSA. And Joe Milton, like Dak Prescott gets hurt, for example, or whatever, or they bench him or something because he throws like 3 or 4 interceptions, and they insert Joe Milton. Joe Milton like lights it up. He's like the first like quarterback, in Cowboys history. I don't know. Let's say, for example, just throw 500 yards and 5 touchdowns, and all of a sudden his cards explode, and I'm over here sitting with like, you know, 10 PSA 10s of Joe Milton rookie cards, and the 10s. Remember, they multiply the value of the raw card, and the raw card is this. This is a raw card, right?
Yeah.
And then
Mhm.
this is a graded card. So that's a graded card, right? When it's encapsulated and it's graded by a company and it has a serial number. So let's say I'm holding 10 of those Joe Miltons, for example, and he just all of a sudden comes out of nowhere and lights it up and starts killing it. Just like Daniel Jones of this year. Daniel Jones has been killing it, right? Everybody wrote him off. He left the Giants and he's on the Indianapolis Colts and he's killing it right now. His cards are going up. So your initial investment of 60 plus whatever it costs to get them graded. Usually it's $20 to get cards graded. So 10 times 20 is 200. 200 plus 60 is 260. So let's say Joe Milton's card market explodes. Everybody wants them. Let's say all of a sudden those 10 cards that I have, those 10 graded cards that are in PSA 10s, let's say they're now $200 to $300 a piece. Well, guess what? You just made yourself, a couple $1,000s just by, going off of like your gut instinct, and getting in on the ground floor
Yeah.
before he has a huge game, and then everybody jumps on that bandwagon and wants him.
This sounds like too, like getting those cards graded is a big deal too, right?
For sure, it could definitely help. Now, here's a kid right here, Malik Neighbors. He's really good. Played for the Giants. He went to LSU. Great wide receiver. He recently got injured, but he still has a good card market. He's solidified himself. He's got really good value. A lot of people, a lot of people like Malik Neighbors. Just like this guy right here, Jaden Daniels. And these cards, I think I picked them up for like $4 or $5. Just it's good to have different things on hand because when you're in the side hustle of sports cards, you're going to have your high end buyers, but also you're going to have your buyers that only want to spend 20, $30, right? So you got to have something for everybody. You got to have like your $5 to $10 cards. You got to, sometimes, it's crazy. I'll kind of like touch on this real quick is I'll be on Whatnot, and then, some people are like, hey man, you guys, order your cheap cards. I'm like, give me a range. They're like, oh, $5 to $10. I only got, I don't have that much to spend. But what's a trip is
Yeah.
sometimes those buyers, they end up spending like 2 to $300 because they end up stacking like 20 to 30 of the $5 to $10 cards together. And
Mm,
w initially, they're like, "I don't really have that much of have a budget. I don't, like, I'm looking for cards in the $5 to $10 range." But sometimes those buyers, they end up spending like I said, 2 to 300 because they just in their mind, like, they're looking for cheap cards, but they want a lot of them, and a lot of the cheap cards add up.
sure.
They add up. Here's a really cool one. This is Marvin Harrison. This is a cool story. His dad played in the NFL for the Indianapolis Colts. I believe he's going to be or is a Hall of Famer, but this is his son, Marvin Harrison Jr. This is called an optic rated rookie. The rated rookie is right behind the little sticker.
Okay. Oh yeah, I see it.
And this is like a little short print. Short print is when it's like kind of a limited print run. Let me give you an example. This is not really a short print. This is Kyler Murray, my house.
That's a cool card.
Yeah, this one's called a refractor because it has like shine to it, all that shine. This is a shorter print because it has the stars. I don't know if you can see the stars. Let me see.
Yeah, yeah, I can see them.
See the stars in there?
So that means it's a short print, the stars?
Yeah, it's a little shorter print because it's something special, right? It's a different kind of a design.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, different kind of a design. It makes it a little bit shorter of a print as compared to like a base card or something. But
Gotcha.
then you got your cards like this that have serial numbers on them. Like, can you see the serial number
Yep.
right there?
Was that like 17 out of something?
I think it's out of 50.
12 out of 50?
Yeah,
Yeah, 12 out of 88.
I think it's out of I think it's out of 50 or something like yeah, it's out of 50. So with that being said, there's serial numbered cards. Those are the ones that people want. They're called numbered cards, short prints. There's short prints without being numbered, like these, which are different
Mhm.
designs, which are exclusives. So call like an exclusive short print. And you can get those ones. These ones come out of the tins like this. You can get these at your Walmart or whatever. Just pay attention. If you see something like this, um, trying to see if they shows. No, it doesn't have the little paper on it. But basically, that's what I pulled that out of. Not this card, but this is what you could pull. You could pull these out of those tins, the stars. I pulled a Drake May. He's a young quarterback for the Patriots. I pulled the Drake May out of those tins. But yeah, there's
This is good. I like this. We're gonna have to do a follow-up episode maybe we can do like a nostalgic, you know, go through like the card era. I grew up in kind of the junk era where,
mhm.
Jose Canseco, like you mentioned, the Ken Griffey's.
I can get a few of
Uh,
those cards together for sure. And
that would be cool to kind of walk through the different eras um, on a future episode.
for sure, I was going to tell you if you want, I could show you. I could go through some cards with you real quick. I'd take like a minute just to kind of show you, just to give the audience like an idea of what kind of cards there are out there. You just real briefly, and then just yeah, just show you real quick, just the stuff that I have right in front of me.
Sure.
Here's a cool little Patrick Mahomes. This is a select green. This one's numbered, so that's something that's cool to get. Um, while I'm showing these cards, did you have any questions as far as like, you know, um, how do you know which the right cards to buy, or you know what I mean, or anything like that?
No, I think you touched on that. I think just like you said, if if you have a hunch, go with your gut. Like, hey, I think this guy's gonna blow up. I'm gonna buy his card.
Yeah,
Or if someone's like a backup running back and the starter gets hurt, and you have a bunch of his cards in your stack, you probably want to get those ready to showcase those cards, right?
for example, which reminds me, it brings me to something about purchases and about backups and all that stuff. So I had recently bought these cards.
Jordan Love.
This is a Jordan Love rookie silver, right? And he wasn't really coming off of his best game that he had. Um, so I was live on Whatnot, and that's kind of where I buy my inventory from. That's a good spot to start buying your inventory from. And here's two of them, right? So if you believe if you believe in a player, don't be afraid to invest in them. You know, uh, as long as they're not like on the practice squad. You know, for an NFL team. But one thing I was going to tell you was here's another angle that you can approach the card market. So last night I was in a Whatnot stream. I was buying some cards just for inventory purposes. Just kind of keeping my eyes open to see if there's anything that caught my eye. And there was a player by the name of Kadarius Toney. In the chat, everybody was calling him Stone Hands. People were saying that he had his when he was playing on the field, he had his fingers were on backwards. That dude had like butterfingers. You know, he was always dropping passes. So I don't know where he's at. I don't know if he retired. I don't know if he's still in the NFL. But there was a card out of National Treasures, which is a very high end product. So the seller was like, "Hey, I'm gonna run this. You guys any interest?" And people were like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. Throw it up. You know, run it. Start it off. Start it on auction." Uh, so long story short, it was a 1-of-1. It was a rookie. It was out of National Treasures. A 1-of-1 means it's the ultimate super short print because there's only one card. It was a rookie, which is also a good characteristic for a card. It was National Treasures, which is a high end brand. So it had really good features going for it. The only problem is it's Kadarius Toney, right? Butterfingers. Um,
Yeah.
so I don't think he's currently relevant in the NFL today. However, he did go to college in Florida, and he's a Florida Gator. So here's a little tip: if you know your clients, if you know your regulars, and if you know who's into the Ohio State
I see what you're
Buckeyes,
saying.
who's an alumni of Texas Tech, who PCs Texas Tech players, who PCs Georgia Bulldogs. PC means personally collect. Okay, you're gonna hear that term a lot. You know, PC. It means who do you personally collect? So if you have people that PC like certain like Michigan, where Brady went, for example, you got Nico Collins, the wide receiver for the Texans. So Kadarius Toney was a Florida Gator, and I have a lot of people asking me for Florida Gator cards, right? Players. He was a beast in college. Anybody think, and this is how I think. Anybody who went to the Florida Gator games back in the day and seen Kadarius Toney ball out, set records, and just like
Yeah.
killed it. They're gonna just like me when I was a young kid collecting sports cards with my family at the sports card conventions. I'm gonna have memories of that, right? So like the Kevin Mitchells and the '87 tops, the Barry Bonds and the '87 tops, the '89 Upper Deck Ken Griffey Jr. rookie, the Jose Canseco the Trophy Cup '87 tops, the Mark McGuire rookie with the green
Yep.
the bright green Mark McGuire shirts. All those are gonna be special to me,
Mm.
right? And so Kadarius Toney could play a part in a special memory for somebody that's a Florida Gator fan.
Yeah. I mean, somebody could have his jersey on the wall, and then they're like, "Hey, I want to get my dad as a Christmas present. I'm gonna get them a 1-on-1 card." Right.
Exactly.
That's that's a good way of
And
thinking.
and you may have the missing link to what they're trying to do for a Christmas present, right?
Hmm.
And it's always great to have cards like that. And I would say like um to give you a success story on that exact on that exact angle and that exact topic, I bought a Todd Gurley rookie auto PSA 10 in an auction. Todd Gurley was out of the NFL, but he was a beast. He killed it in the NFL for the Falcons, and for the Rams. I believe he was on the Falcons. I think he was. But anyways, he killed it. He killed it. Like Todd Gurley was an absolute beast. Then he got forgotten about because he got injured. He kind of like faded away, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I Todd Gurley, like he was a great running back, and he would just like kill defenses. So I seen a PSA 10 college uniform, rookie auto, on card autograph, and an on card autograph means that they physically signed the card. They held the card in their hand. They signed it. Nowadays, sometimes these athletes don't have a lot of time on their hands, and they're pressed for time because they got to be here and there and everywhere and practice. So what the NFL does or Panini does is they send them like a sheet of stickers, and they sign all the stickers,
They just sit there and sign them off.
They sign all the stickers, and then they take the stick, and then so they send them back to Panini, which is the brand of the card manufacturers, and then Panini takes the sticker off and places it on their card. And it's an autograph. It's a certified autograph. For example, here's a sticker auto.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And I don't think I have an on-card autograph right here next to me to illustrate that, but on-card
The
autograph.
on-card auto is different, right? It's
There's
a
no
little bit
sticker.
more.
There's no sticker. They've actually physically held it. So those ones tend to like carry more value, and
Makes
to be a little
sense.
bit more like, desirable, on card.
Mhm.
So that Todd Gurley, I had it up in my shop for the longest time, my Whatnot shop. If you guys want to check out my Whatnot shop, I'm going to be adding cards like, tonight, tomorrow, throughout the weekend. It's Card Shark, CARDSHARK 777 on Whatnot. You could check out my.
I'll put the link as well in the show notes for this video.
Okay. So I had that Todd Gurley. I appreciate that. I had that Todd Gurley sitting in my shop for about a year, right? And I was like, man, I said nobody's bought that. I was gonna like kind of take down some inventory and then like refresh it, put some new inventory in there, and then boom, like I had it up for like 125, and then like one day I was just checking my emails and boom, I seen, hey, you have an offer, and I looked and it was for the Todd Gurley in the college uniform. It was a Georgia fan, Georgia Bulldogs fan, and
Uh,
it was a Georgia Bulldogs. It was either one of these scenarios. It was either a Georgia Bulldogs fan or a seller who had a Georgia Bulldogs fan that bought it. That wanted it, so they bought it, right? They made me an offer of $80. I think I got it for $16. It Cards may not sell in minutes or in hours. Some cards, let me back up. Some cards may not sell in minutes or in hours as far as a fast turnaround. But for example,
if you're in it for the long game, it's eventually going to sell, right? When the right customer,
for sure,
the right client sees it.
and $16 isn't going to make or break me, right? So like it was a $16 investment. Worst case scenario, I keep it, add it to my collection, add it to my PC, because guess what? Todd Gurley was a beast, and
Yeah, yeah.
I have an auto and a PSA 10. And the good thing is graded cards will always sell. They'll always sell. Because people are, they want to, they like collecting the graded stuff. And, because it's encapsulated, it increases its value. It'll always be preserved because it's encapsulated in what is like coined in today's sports card market as a slab. So graded card, if you hear the word slab, that means it's a graded card. It's in a graded
If
card
you
holder.
if you find a slabbed Uncle Rico, let me know. PSA 10.
Yeah, for sure. I'll make sure it has the inscription. Hey, I can throw it over those mountains.
Throw a pigskin quarter mile.
But if you guys have any
No,
other
that's good,
questions,
man.
if you have any questions or anything like that, just drop any comments that you guys have. When this is posted and uploaded to YouTube, drop any questions. If you guys, I'll make sure to get on there, or Mr. Occupation Story Hub himself, he'll reach out to me and be like, hey, man, there's some people on there that have some questions. If you guys need help appraising your collection, so, all you got to do is, we can get connected. Just reach out to Mr. Occupation Story Hub. He'll either put you in touch with me, give you my number, or we can just like chat it up or whatever, and then I can help. I help with that all the time.
Yeah. So just to summarize, you sell on Whatnot.
Mhm.
You also appraise collections.
Yes,
You will sell collections for folks.
yes,
Um,
cosign.
yep.
Yeah,
And if folks are looking for stuff for their PC, their personal collection, they could reach out to you and say, hey, you got these cards, whatever.
definitely. I take requests all the time, and like one thing. Let me back up. When I said cosign, I meant consign. I do
Yeah,
consignment.
consignment, right? Yep. Yep.
So
I know what you meant.
yeah. So
That's good. I appreciate that.
with appraisals and all that stuff, and like taking requests, if you're looking for Christmas presents, you know, you know, I'm your guy. One thing that I want to iterate on real quick is in the sports card market, if you're going to start out selling, make sure there's a couple simple rules that'll allow you to be successful, right? And number one, always keep your word. If you tell somebody you're going to ship it out, ship it out. Don't procrastinate. A typical reasonable amount of time to ship out cards, to ship out a customer's product is less than 72 hours. Be timely, show them that, that their purchase, you appreciate their business. And the way that you can show them that you appreciate their business is shipping out their cards within less than 72 hours. Not only that, package them well, like I was telling you. Put cardboard on the front, cardboard on the back. Make sure, that you don't just toss the cards in there, because that's one thing to turn a buyer away and never have them come
Yeah,
back,
makes sense.
because they don't want their purchase to be damaged. Another thing is, if like I said, be a man of your word or a woman of your word. Keep your word. If you do that, you'll build a great reputation in the hobby. People can trust you. I have people sending me $1,000 collections to appraise cards. They're like, hey, sell these for me, and whenever you sell them, just give me 50%. We'll just split it. They trust me with their cards, but that doesn't come overnight. You got to work for that. And the
Sure,
way that
sure.
you start building that reputation, that credibility, is just keeping your word, just doing what you say you're going to do, right? And being responsive to your comments, being responsive to your messages. Don't ghost people, and leave them like on red, for like a week or two, because then they're gonna get an uneasy feeling about you, and they're gonna be like, you know what, nah, that
Yeah,
guy
this
didn't get
guy's gonna
back to
take
me
advantage of me.
for a couple weeks. One more thing, if you're thinking like, "Hey, man, I got a bunch of cards, but you wanna go to a sports card shop," Imma tell you a couple things. Sports card shops are like they're like pawn shops. I'm just gonna be honest with you. They have a huge overhead. So,
Yeah.
when they hear somebody over the phone call, or they see somebody walking in with a box of collection, they're gonna hit you just like pawn shop will hit you. They're probably gonna give you 15 to 30% of what your cards are worth. I'm just being honest. And what they're gonna
Yeah.
do, they don't like to give out cash, they like to give you store credit. So that way you could turn around and buy from them, buy more from them. So, if you sell it yourself or find somebody like myself, they're gonna be willing to pay you, more money, 50%,
Yeah.
50 to 70% of what your cards are worth, and help you get more for your money. I'm not just saying
That
that
makes
so I can get
sense.
more business because I have a lot of business as it is. And
Sure.
I'm happy to take on more business and happy to answer questions or happy to help people find cards. If you're looking for certain players for your husband, for your sons, for your kids, let me know. If you want mystery packs put together, I could put you a mystery pack together. If you want, say like, if you want something put together, just reach out to me and I got you. I'll take care of you of your favorite players or whatever. Um, just be careful out there because there's a lot of scammers. And if you're ever going to buy anything on social media, you don't have to worry about this with whatnot. But let's say you see something on Facebook, you're like, oh, I want that. Make sure you use PayPal. And if you use PayPal, make sure that you pay with goods and services. So that way you're protected because there's a lot of scammers out there. And if you're going to buy something, and if they say, hey, I got you, do me a favor. I don't, so that way we don't pay fees, send me friends and family. And
Yeah.
that's a typical indicator. If you don't know somebody, that's a typical indicator
Yeah.
and a
Red
red flag
flag.
of a scammer. And because I helped a lot of um, people come to me, hey, do you know this person? Yeah, for sure. I met a lot of friends that way by looking out and say, hey, look, that's a scammer. They have an alternate name and an alternate account. Are they wanting you to pay friends and family? Yep. No way. Another thing is, I'll leave you with this, unless you have any more questions for me. Okay, online, sports card community, the ones that are just starting out, right? Do not do any trades online. If you're going to do a trade, make sure it's in person, face to face. The reason for that is because I'm pretty sure most of the people that are going to be watching this, or most of the people out there in the sports card hobby, or that are wanting to get into the sports card hobby that collect, are good people, right? But you're going to have those like that they're like there's wolves out there, and there's people that they
Hmm.
like to prey on the innocent. So while you're sending out your cards and you're trusting people because you're a good person, you're doing the right thing, the other person has no intentions of sending their card out to you, and they probably don't even have that card. Do not do online trades. Only do face to face, in person trades. And if somebody that you buy from says, "Here, let me show you. I'll create you a shipping label," right? So, to give you peace of mind. Keep this in mind. You could create a shipping label and still never ship the card.
That's true. That's true.
So you always got to
Yeah.
make sure that you cover your bases. And I'm real big on helping people not get scammed. Um, and that's how I have a lot of returning buyers because I've looked out in the past for so many people and help people like recover money because guess what? I've been scammed. And you learn through your experiences and you learn through, going through certain situations and you're like, shit, I'd never do that again.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. That's good. That's a good note to end on too. Is just kind of an awareness for folks out there wanting to get into the hobby, or
no, for
just
sure.
not necessarily wanting to sell, but maybe you just want to do some buy some stuff. Maybe try to rebuild your old collection when you were a kid.
Oh yeah.
I would recommend you go through somebody who's already been vetted, somebody who's trusted, somebody who has an online presence, somebody you could see, put a face to their name, and so that's why I wanted to have Billy on, and just you know, show what he can offer. And I'd love to have another episode where we can go deeper. We got more time into your cards. I'm sure you have a vast collection, and people would love to see that. But
What I can
hey,
do,
thanks for yeah.
I was gonna say what I can do is we could do like a little short, create a short like a part two, and I can set up a
Hmm.
table and I can have the whole table filled with cards, and we could just kind of like I can go one by one and just show you like a whole like show you like a little piece of the collection and some of the inventory. Because I'm pretty sure there's people out there that still collect, that have thought about getting
Yeah,
back into collecting, and they're just like they just never really like had that push or that bump, or like they never really knew anybody that was reputable. You know what I'm saying? Like in their
sure.
circle, that it can in their circle, or like a friend of a friend, or something that somebody they could trust. to kind of step out and be like, start putting a collection together again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. We'll definitely have to sync back up for that for sure. Well, thanks for joining and thanks for tuning into this episode. Hopefully, this is useful. I really enjoyed this. I'm a card guy myself, so this is a great one. I look forward to the second one.
Oh, for
Thanks,
sure.
everybody. God bless.
Appreciate it. God bless. Have a good night. Thank you for having me on.